Hello, and welcome back to the Heated Bench, the first episode of the new year. I'm joined by co-host Alex again. Alex, how was your Christmas? How was your new year?
Yeah, it was good, mate. How was yours?
Yeah, very good, mate. A lot of family time, a little bit of a break from work and from the podcast. It's been nice to get a bit of a break, get a bit of clarity and a bit of clear your head before you get back to it.
Yeah. Back at it now, aren't we?
That's it, mate. As we mentioned towards the end of last year, we've got quite an exciting year coming up. And we're going to keep this rolling and see what occurs. There's been quite a few big stories over the last few weeks. Football, darts are the main two subjects we're going to cover this week. We're also going to do a little bit of a prediction at the end for the year ahead, sort of what we're going to look at in terms of like Premier League winners, Champions League winners, a quick look at the World Cup coming up, and see if we can predict a Ballon d'Or winner on the football front. We'll also cover, obviously, Littler winning the World Championships, and we'll cover the Premier League announcement for the darts that came this week. Few controversial picks in there that I'm sure we'll get into discussing a little bit later, mate. So, yeah, nice to be back, and we'll start it off with the big news in football. Manchester United this week sacked Ruben Amorim. Obviously, Manchester United fan yourself. What's your early takes on it? What are you thinking? What are you looking for coming up?
The writing was on the wall, wasn't it? It was coming, and it'd been coming for a few months or so. I don't think there was many Man United fans who was really buying into this style of play. He was playing this 3-4-2-1, exposing massive flaws in the side that any football fan could see. His unwillingness to change the system and change for the players he had as well was a big red flag. It was kind of also a bit of a green flag in some ways, because obviously like people were saying, oh, Man United need a style or an identity, and he will bring that, but ultimately it was the wrong style and the wrong identity for Man United and the current players they've got. And then he actually did make a system change. I can't remember if it was the Newcastle game or one of the games, but they got a win, and people were saying with like Ahmad and Mbomo going to AFCON and having not many wide players, and then they had injury to Sesko, so Kuna was playing up front. They were saying, oh, we can stick to this 4-2-3-1, I think he went to. And then literally the next game, he changed back to his regular system and then lost or dropped points again. So the writing was on the wall for, well, I would say since the Europa League final, really. He had to win that. He didn't win that. He gets off to a very poor start and then has a bit of a somewhat slight purple patch in the middle. But it doesn't buy you enough time these days. So, and then with his outburst in the press conference, yeah, it was an inevitability, really.
Yeah,
I'm not too fond of the names being thrown about, though. I'm not even sure if some are an upgrade on Amorim.
well, let's have a look at it then. So,
but look, Amorim had to go.
Yeah, obviously, as a Liverpool fan, it's been a fun few years watching the downfall of Manchester United, to be fair. But I think for football's sake, Manchester United are a club that need to be fighting for titles, fighting for trophies, and at the very minimum, playing an entertaining style of football. Biggest, probably bar Real Madrid, Barcelona, the biggest club in the world, if not bigger than those as well. And it's been wrong for a very long time. We can go into details on that another time in terms of what's happened behind the scenes and the Glazers and obviously Sir Jim coming in and trying to make some changes and whatnot. But just touching on like Amorim, like it has been very clear that I think probably since that Europa League final, as you mentioned, that he kind of seems to have been angling for a way out of a job as well. I don't think he was ever going to walk. He was always waiting to be pushed. And I think the outburst this week was sort of the final nail in the coffin, digging at those above you to say that he came in to have a much more say on the club than what he's had. Obviously, not just to be a coach, but to be a manager of the team. But I must admit, from what I've watched of Amorim and what I've seen of Manchester United in the time frame that he's been there, he's not really shown any of those qualities. He made a few big decisions early on that I was like, right, this guy's got some stones about him. He's got some bollocks. He's got a few points. He obviously dealt with the Rashford situation. He's got rid of a few players that obviously were spoke about as being a bit of a nightmare in the dressing room, having a little bit too much player power. And we've spoke about it, but those players have gone on to other clubs and have looked decent. Like, I mean, McTominay's not so much under Amorim, but obviously McTominay's, Rashford's gone to Barca and starts most of the games. He's put some performances in. Obviously, Anthony left, had a bit of a patch. I don't really keep a track of his career though, so I don't know how he's gone on recently. But yeah, I find it strange at Manchester United at the minute, pal. I don't know what the fix is, and I don't think it's a manager that fixes it.
Yeah, a lot to digest there. What I would say about when Amarim's come out in terms of he wants to be the manager and not the coach, I think you can build into that. So like if he has like two or three good years as the coach, then yeah, you can start giving him more responsibility and get him involved in transfers and, player contracts and, other jobs and other roles in the club. Like, but I don't think you can just these days give such power to one person in particular who hasn't necessarily proven it in the Premier League or at Man United either. So I thought that was fine for Man United to just appoint him as the coach. They've obviously got specialists in other areas across the board, so they don't need Ruben Amorim doing that straight away. They want him concentrating on the team. So
That
kind of get his point, but then at the same time, I think you need to kind of build up your credit and build up your bank,
yeah,
and
I
then
do.
you can step into them roles.
I do get that, but there does have to be some like cohesion between those roles. Like he can't. He surely has to be having a say on what players are coming through the door, sort of what his long time goal is, and it just
Yeah,
doesn't
for
seem.
sure.
It just doesn't seem like they've ever had that cohesion. Like even under him, and like his signings this year. We talk about this a lot in our Discord, but we
But
talk
you'd
about the.
naturally just you just naturally assume, right, the manager would have had these conversations with the owners. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine there's any world where the manager of Man United or the manager of any Premier League club isn't having part saying in transfers and who's going out the door. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get that, but
it's not falling on his decision, but he's still part of like the process. They'll get his say in that. So
yeah, and I do get that, and I do think he may have been a little bit naive with the signings that's coming in. Like, whilst Mbeumo, Cunha are really good players, the players that you replaced in those systems, it was a little bit strange to me. Like, Mbeumo and Cunha coming in to bolster their attack when you were leaking goals or you're getting walked through in midfield. The signings didn't really make sense to me. Like,
they had to sign some attacking players though from last year. They were struggling last year to score goals.
yeah, I guess. But if you're leaking goals as well, at least, like, I mean, not this season, but obviously Liverpool went through a stage at one stage where they were leaking goals. You knew if you conceded two, they were going to score three, like Liverpool were going to score three, sort of thing. And you never got that.
Yeah.
You can never get that sense at Manchester United.
I do think they've had unlucky for Amarin. I do think AFCON's come at a bad time for him. And then also you throw in the centre half issues he's had. So like Martinez has had injury problems. So has Maguire. So has De Ligt. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, you look really
it's
good. To
sort
be fair, when you had the back three recently of Yoro, De Ligt, and Shaw, and obviously then the two wing backs. I think it was in that purple patch you mentioned, but you actually looked pretty solid defensively. It's probably the
Yeah.
best you've looked. I think the injury to De Ligt's been um, a massive problem.
I think not signing, he obviously, it was, I mean, it's no secret, he really, really wanted Belieber from Brighton. Um, and what difference would he have made? We don't know. But as I think I mentioned it in a previous episode, to play in midfield two in the Premier League now, where you're talking it's the most physically intense league in the world, you need Caicedo and you need Kante in there, or you need like Roy
Yeah.
Keane and Steven Gerrard. You can't have Bruno's an amazing player. I love him to bits. But he's not a number eight, and if he's playing as a number eight, he needs another two in there.
He
He can't.
he must be the most excited from the way that this system is going to change under a new manager, because being played out of position, not looked half as effective in certain games, even though he's been obviously your best player still. It'd be interesting to see what a manager's going to come in and do, because, like I say, with the signings you made, you've got a plethora of players that play the same position. Your Embuemo can probably play out wide a little bit more. You can probably push Cunha forward, but they all want to play in that sort of just behind the striker role. And for me, the best player at it there is Bruno, and it means what do you do with those two?
I was thinking this earlier. I think Sesko's struggled, hasn't he? So if this was me personally, if I was the Man United manager, I would move Bomo up top. I'd put Cunha to the wide left, Ahmad wide right, and then I'd put Bruno in the 10.
Yeah,
And then
but then does
obviously
that
look,
leave you with the same situation that you've got two players in midfield behind them that don't really have the legs to cover what you need?
possibly. I mean, I would like to say again. I'd personally play Mainu, and I'd maybe even play Martinez if De Ligt and Maguire can get back fit. So look, there is options there. Just that system, just for me, never worked. I mean, there's only been one instant I can really think of where, I mean, Chelsea won the league with a 3-4-3, didn't they? They had Kante and Matic in midfield, and then did City were playing a back three when they did the treble, but it weren't like a this kind of system. They
Yeah,
packed the midfield.
yeah. I mean, you had John Stones walking into that midfield. You had
Yeah, Rodri was in there
Cancelo just wandering in and around that.
when it was in. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and to be
it
fair,
weren't the
like you
same.
say, Chelsea could do it because they had Kante that had like legs for days. He'd cover more ground than anybody else every game. So
Yeah, and that was Matic's like natural position anyway. A bit
yeah,
like kind of Casemiro now, but Casemiro look is like, I mean, he's done all right, but yeah, he's found it tough. So yeah,
yeah, he's getting on it.
he had
You can't really blame Casemiro, can you? He's getting on
no,
a
you
bit. His
can't.
legs are gone, and you just want someone alongside him, but that's never been there for him. So, yeah,
I've received banter for this comment, and I'm going to say it again because I don't give a fuck what fucking Kirk Ellis thinks. But I remember saying Man United are still paying for some of Ten Hag's signings, and I still genuinely believe that. For example, like Ugarte, he's honestly one of the worst footballers I've ever seen. Like Onana had to be replaced this year. Do you know Hoyland come in was up to nothing. Anthony, so I do feel Ten Hag was still a bit of a part responsibility. He was he was the manager only 14 months ago. So I suppose he is part blame. And then, yeah, Amarin's not come in and really done much better, if any, really. So
yeah. Did
the writing was on the wall. And then, like I say, the list of managers now being thrown about, holy moly. It looks like, though, from reports that Ollie will be the interim manager.
till the end of the season, which I think is a good move to a degree. However, I was going to mention it, but this can probably segue into this a little bit better. To be fair, I feel as an outsider looking in that this group of players from the early 2000s, this Fergie era of thing, have way too much influence on what happens at Manchester United. Your Gary Nevilles, your Scholes, your Butts, your Solskjaers, Keanes to a degree. Like, it's happened in the past with teams like Liverpool where they've gone through a generation of the 80s and they've dominated, and then they've gone through a period of failure before they've obviously come back again. It seems like that's happening now with Manchester United. But the the problem seems to be, to me, is it's so hypocritical all the time. 2 or 3 years ago, Gary Neville was on Sky, and its comments along the lines of Manchester United need a systematical manager that's going to play a formation, that's going to stick to his guns, that's going to get rid of the dead rubber, blah, 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 blah. This happens, and then a year down the line when he gets sacked, or 2 years down the line when he gets sacked, and it goes out, well, Manchester United, everything we know about Manchester United's about bringing kids through, doing this, doing that. And it's like, well, that's just the complete opposite to what you said before. I think Mourinho said it in a press conference once that I think he had to take Marcus Rashford off at half time in a game because he'd got a yellow card that probably should have been a red. And as he's walking back into the tunnel, there's cameras, like Sky cameras around, and a TV, and the referee, he's stood talking to the referee, and the referee's sat watching Gary Neville saying it should have been a red card. So then he feels like people like that around the club have like influence way too much on it, and it always seems to be that, like, on the overlap on like the podcast that Scholes and Butt do, everything always seems to be like, this is what happened at Manchester United under Fergie, this is what it needs to get back to, this is what it is. Football is completely different now. The game's gone, the game's changed, and all this, whilst you can have like this, I don't know I know what I'm trying to say, but like, while you can have this like backing and understanding of how a club worked then and want it to be similar to that, you have to realise that there's a lot more player power now. There's a lot more influence that goes into these decisions other than just, that's the gaffer, this is the way it worked, everyone needs to be on this level. If you're not on this level, you're out the club, because it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, to be fair, and I actually do think Sir Jim Ratcliffe has clocked that. With like his appointments behind the scene and who they've been. They've been no affiliation to Manchester United. And look, you probably do want some Manchester United DNA or history or Fergie era kind of sort of blended in there. But like you say, the game's moved on. The core of the club now needs to be people of the right people in charge in the right positions, and whether they were part of the Fergie days or not, it's irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? So and I feel like Sir Jim Ratcliffe has tried that. So like he's tried it with Amarin. He's obviously brought Omar Barada in, who was the CEO of Man City, to become the CEO of Man United. He brought Dan Ashworth in from Newcastle, which didn't work out. But I kind of like that. So Jim Ratcliffe, he made a mistake with Dan Ashworth, and he made a mistake with Ruben Amorim. Right, let's just bite the bullet then. We'll take the pit, we'll take the settlement payment, we'll get rid of them, and we'll bring someone else in. He brought Jean-Claude Blanc from Paris Saint-Germain. There was Sir Dave Brailsford. He was from Team Sky. There was Jason Wilcott. So like, I think Ratcliffe is trying, and kind of like what you're saying there, he is trying to bring the right people in, regardless of what affiliation they have to Manchester United. I think he's just got to stick at it, really, and first of all, now get the right manager.
Yeah,
because that's massive now.
It's clear the culture needs to change around Manchester, like Manchester United. I think that's pretty clear. I know people laugh. So we'll talk about, we'll segue into like the odds of who's going to be Manchester manager at the start of next season, right? So obviously Ollie's favourite to be manager at the start of next season as well, which I don't think he will. I think they will probably look at bringing a Glasner in, or a Maresca.
Well, they can't make the mistake last time, because obviously Ollie did have an amazing period when he was interim, and then when he became the manager, he did have a good season that first season, to be fair, but it was a negative brand of football. You had like Fred and McTominay sitting. Man United were playing a lot of counter-attacking stuff, and like they didn't get over. I mean, they finished second, to be fair, with like a reasonable 80 odd points, but like you never felt that Ollie was going to take them over the line. Do you know what I mean? So
I laugh and joke, and I couldn't stand him, but do Manchester United need a Gareth Southgate type manager to come in and try and change the culture of the club?
Manchester United never need Gareth Southgate, mate.
I mean,
Do
do you
they
know what
fuck need?
I know,
I
I
get what you're
know,
saying.
I get
I get it. I
it.
get it.
It,
I know your point, but mate, fucking hellfire, really? Is
I,
that what it's come to?
yeah, but
Fucking.
we talk like this, and we're now what, 15 managers? Is it since Fergie left? Something daft like that.
Let me just counter that slightly then. Do you think any of the managers that have been appointed for Manchester United had been the right manager? So, like, what I mean is, like, David Moyes, he had an impossible taken after Fergie,
Yeah,
impossible job. He didn't really have the credentials, but like there was nobody out there at the time, I think. I mean, Mourinho had gone back to Chelsea, Ancelotti was at Madrid, Pep had gone to Bayern, so like it was a bit of a short string, like, but then Van Gaal was past his best, Mourinho was past it. Then Ollie come in and done a bit, and then it's only really you've thought maybe Ten Hag had been kind of the right appointment, but then fucking hell, that
but
went tits up, didn't it?
yeah, and I get that, but if you look at sort of what's been going off at Manchester United, and I'm obviously touched on it earlier. United have still had some superstars during this period, and for one reason or another, it's just not worked out behind closed doors, and it seems to be like the culture of the club, which obviously was called out for a long time, and obviously Amorim came in and tried to change that, but like your Rashfords, your Brunos to a degree, like, I still think for a player of his ability and as good as he is, his attitude fucking stinks, like, sometimes. And I can get frustration, and I get players playing with passion. I'm a big fan of it. I love seeing that little bit of hardcore emotion coming out. But, like, it always seems like there is a player somewhere or someone. It's like with Mainu now. Mainu's a fucking kid. He's barely earned his stripes, and the media attention, and his brother's turning up to games with 3 Cobby or 3 Mainu on his t-shirt, and his sister's putting posts on smiling because it's thing like this whole structure around Manchester United seems to have just got way out of hand, and I genuinely think it's an impossible job for anyone coming in. Like, if Manchester United was in a position that, say, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, okay, yes, I know they're winning big trophies, but like if Manchester United was in a position like they are, like I would have no problem with like a Glasner coming in and taking the role there, because they're just going to take a team that's set and put their spin on it.
Bit like what Slot's done at
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah. If Glasner goes in at Manchester United, again, I think it's just an impossible job, and it looks absolutely impossible for him to do it because he doesn't have credentials. He isn't one of these big name top managers that has loads of experience like a Bayern Munich or a PSG or Real Madrid, where they've had some experience in dealing with high egos, big players. And you're almost like, I look down this list now until you get to probably Thomas Tuchel at 16-1. Every single player that it just, to me, looking at that list, it just looks like they're destined to fail.
Yeah.
Ollie gonna come in, probably settle the ship a bit, and then, like you say, after a year, you're back at the same place. Glasner not got the credentials. Southgate, okay, like I said, might be the man to come in and just probably change the culture a little bit, like he did with England. But is he good enough as a manager to play the style of football that Manchester United want? No, not one bit. Darren Fletcher, again, it's that old breed of Manchester United that with no credentials really, that you're just hoping that someone from inside the club has got a little bit of knowledge. And then you've got Maresca. Well, he's hardly done a fucking great job at Chelsea when they've thrown a fucking £1 billion at him. Like, Chelsea played some all right stuff, and he was obviously, um, again, in a fucking football manager situation where the guy's probably going to fail. And even if he had the best season ever, he'd probably be sacked fucking 2 months after, because that fucking Yank's just playing like I do on
Oh,
Football
he's
Manager.
Todd Bowley is fucking carnage, isn't he? But no, I get your point. There is no ideal candidate, and whoever you throw out there, there's going to be pros and cons for. Like, let's just take
Well,
Glasner for example. Like you say, he's not a household name. He hasn't really got much experience of managing a big club, but he's done two good jobs at Palace and and Frankfurt, and plays a somewhat decent brand of football. And you can come in not necessarily as a big name, but if he comes in with like slightly low expectations, then kind of maybe the pressure's off a bit. I mean, it reeks to me, in my opinion, it's got to be Thomas Tuchel is the best option.
well, yeah, I would agree. But if you look at it as well, in the last hour or two, it's come out that Luis Enrique's not signing his um, massive deal at PSG. So is he the guy to come in?
Yeah, but then again, Enrique's managed fucking massive PSG and Barcelona. I mean, it doesn't really get much bigger than that, but like, and winning Champions Leagues at both clubs. But like, if you get Enrique, he's one of them where expectations then go high, which means transfers then go high, which means a lot of pressure goes onto the team, and then like, and Enrique is known to fall out with board and directors. He did it at Barcelona. He's probably going to be doing it now at PSG. It's like I was a huge fan of Antonio Conte. I wanted Conte. Can't remember if it was when Ten Hag took charge or it was Amorim. I really wanted Antonio Conte. I think he's won titles at Juventus, Inter Milan, Napoli, Chelsea. He's been the Italy manager. He's been the Tottenham manager. He's managed big clubs in big leagues. He's managed the national team. So he was my pick, but he's he's
He's
kind of
another
the
one that's
similar,
passed
really.
it.
He would fall out with the board. He would,
I know
yeah.
it. I know it's been said, but I think from the outside looking in, I think if I was to say, right, every manager's available now that you could put in, I genuinely think like Simeone is probably the only one that fits the bill of everything that Manchester United need. Someone with a bit of
Yeah.
passion, someone with a bit of bollocks, someone that's probably going to give the board a bit but going to get what he wants. He could probably scare the culture into thinking you ain't bigger than me, but like sort of thing. He's the guy that obviously.
Mate, how many managers out there have got experience of, because this is like, if you put in the credentials and put it into one of what a Man United manager would look like, it would be plays attacking football, on the front foot, expansive football, plays youth, high up in hierarchy, has a lot of respect.
Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, how many of these, no, but how many of these managers are there?
Well,
There's like none of them.
there isn't really, is there? You've got what, Klopp,
Who's
Pep,
not who's not managing anymore,
yeah,
who's at City.
Pep,
So
um,
so
Emery,
this is it.
maybe.
Is he gonna leave is he gonna wanna leave Aston Villa at the minute there? Because 'Cause they've got a great chance of winning the Europa League,
Yeah,
getting Champions League again.
yeah, probably not. But then again, it's that whole thing that we discussed earlier in the season when you got Sesko over Newcastle, isn't it? It's that whole Man United are the biggest club in England, and
Yeah,
can you turn it down?
somebody if the job will obviously become available and there will be people chomping at the bit to do it. Whether they succeed or not, who knows? Yeah, like I say, I don't think there's many ideal candidates. It's tough, innit?
Yeah,
Because sometimes there's just a manager and like you look at, I'm going to use Klopp as an example. What the relationship Klopp had with his Dortmund, very kind of similar to Liverpool, really, aren't they? Like Dortmund and Liverpool. So when Klopp becomes available and Liverpool are after a manager, it's too good of a fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't really see that with Man United at the minute. Where is this fit? So
Yeah. It'd be an
we'll
interesting one,
see.
pal.
Like I say, well, I'd personally go Tuchel. If you was the Man United board, who would you appoint?
Yeah, Tuchel's probably, and if Enrique comes up, I'd contemplate Enrique.
Yeah,
They'd be
I mean,
they
Enrique and Tuchel are the two standout names, aren't they?
the
The
problem.
rest,
Sorry, I want to sort of come off the subject in a minute because we've covered like half an hour's worth of it. But like the problem with Tuchel that you're going to have there is he's in the England job till at least the World Cup. What
yeah,
time has he got when he comes out of the World Cup? Probably not much. And then you're
yeah,
going
true.
into another season where you're thinking,
Well, I think Tuchel will leave the England job at the end of the World Cup. I think he's only really there for the World Cup.
yeah. Oh, let's roll into that then. We said we were going to do some predictions. So let's have a look at it. So we were going to predict the Premier League winner to start with. Um, Arsenal are obviously 6 points clear, about halfway through the season. City
I
and
think
Villa.
Arsenal will get it over the line.
Yeah, I don't think City are consistent enough to be able to catch them.
No.
City will drop. Any other year, I'd have just said that like City will go on that relentless run and they'll probably catch them. But I'm not. I don't have that confidence, and Arsenal have still been picking points up over Christmas
Yeah,
with
what
injury,
literally
with
what I was
injuries.
just about to say. Yeah, what I was just about to say then is if Haaland doesn't score, it seems they drop points. Which I know he scores a great deal of goals, but also on the contrary, Arsenal's best players in terms of like Ødegaard and Saka haven't been playing at the best, and they are still winning.
Yeah,
And obviously, Gyökeres has come in with high expectations, hasn't hit the ground running. So like Gyökeres, Saka, and Ødegaard haven't been at the races this year, in my opinion, and they're still like getting wins. So if they find some form, do you know what
yeah.
I mean? It takes
I
them up another level.
I agree. I think it's wrapped up. I think the league's done. So
I mean,
yeah.
it would be fucking hilarious if it
Oh,
weren't,
it'd
if
be
they did bottle
fucking
in.
great. I would pay a lot of money to see Arsenal bottle the league. I really would. Um, World Cup winner then.
I'm just
Spain.
going to go off the
Spain.
cuff
Spain
and
are
say France.
favourites. France. You get good. You get good 8-1 with Bet365.
Yeah. Deschamps still the manager, and he's had a really good World Cup record. So I'll say France.
Yeah, I'll throw it out there. I think Germany are long overdue a good run at it. So I'm going to have a crack at Germany at 12s. I think the young players are starting to get a bit of experience at big clubs, and it could all link together. I'm not quite sure how fucking England are second favourites. It fucking blows my mind every year when I see them up there. Any South
No, I think
American teams, Brazil, Argentina, or are we just
Argentina have obviously always got a chance. I mean, obviously a massive Messi fan, so I'd love it if Argentina won it. But I can't really see Brazil being up to much. I know they've got Ancelotti as manager, but I don't see anything from Brazil.
any outsiders that you think might get in?
I'd hate it, but I think Portugal may have a slight chance.
Yeah.
What are they? Where are they in the favourites? What number are they?
Sixth. They are 11-1.
Six favourites.
Yeah, they're slightly better odds than Germany and Holland.
It's tough, innit? Because all can happen in a World Cup,
Yeah.
really.
I mean, you get 33s on Italy and Belgium. I know they.
Just go through the top 10 in order from what the bookies say. Then,
So Spain, you can get around the 4-1 to 5-1 mark.
so they're favourites.
Yeah, England, you're looking on average about 6-1, second favourites. France, anywhere between 6s to 8s, so they're in and around their average of about 7-1. Brazil, again, slightly. You're looking more 7s for for France, whereas you're looking more 8-1 for Brazil and Argentina. You've got Portugal at 11s, Germany at 12s, and then you've got Holland and Norway on 20s and 25s, and then it's 33 bar those. So, yeah.
So what is it without the odds then? Sorry, what is it in just like order of like really
Spain,
who could win it?
England, France, Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, Germany, Holland, and Norway. And then obviously you've got,
I'll go France.
yeah, I'll go Germany then. But no
I
doubt
mean,
we'll,
I don't want France at all to win it.
no. And no doubt I'll get a sweepstake and end up with fucking Qatar or someone like that. So be buzzing with that.
Who had Morocco when we did the sweepstake last time?
Probably
I
someone
think it
like,
was you.
was
I
it
think
me?
it was you
Oh no,
actually.
it might have been actually. I think I got some money back for them getting to like the semi-finals or something daft like that.
Yeah, I think you did have Morocco. Yeah.
Champions League winner?
I'm a bit sitting on the fence about this, and I thought about this earlier, which doesn't look like it, hence why I'm thinking. But the ones that came to mind were Real Madrid and Barcelona are going to be up there because they're Real Madrid and Barcelona. And then the other two, I do think Arsenal have a great chance, and I think maybe Paris Saint-Germain again if they can fire some form again.
Fair enough.
Why don't you think Arsenal?
Do you know what it is with Arsenal? And it's the complete opposite to what we've just been talking about. But you just know somewhere at some point they're going to bottle something.
Yeah, they've got it in. I know they have got it in them.
I
I'm not. I
just
know what you're
don't
saying, but
feel like
I
when
almost
they
don't
come up
think that.
when they come up against the big teams, I don't know how many times you can get away with a Gabriel corner being the winner of a game in the Champions League. He scores goals, to be fair, though. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say, I'm fucking sounding very German here, but I think Bayern could be a good shout for it.
Yeah, I'm not offended by that. I could see that
Look
happening.
very good going forward. Are they good enough defensively? That might be the question mark for me.
I'd rather Bayern Munich win it than any of the teams I said.
Yeah.
Maybe other than, but I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Barcelona winning it, but I wouldn't like Real Madrid or Arsenal. I didn't mind Paris Saint-Germain winning it last year, to be fair, but I don't want to see them win it again now. Now they've won it, so
Yeah. Just trying to see if I can find some outrights for it.
I think Arsenal were favourites because I looked earlier.
Yeah, Arsenal and Bayern Munich are second favourites, so it's not that far out there. I actually thought they'd be pretty big. You
Sorry
get
to interrupt you, but I've just got the Premier League on in the background, and West Ham have just scored against Forest.
God, Forest are bad.
It looks like a Murillo own goal as well. I tell you what, if Forest don't win this, they're
They're
going to be in
they're
some
banging
issues.
that fight.
Well, they are now. I mean, Wolves will still go down. Now they've got to win, and if West Ham, I mean, there's a long way to go in this yet, so we'll see.
Yeah. Early nominations for a Ballon d'Or for next year. Got any?
Um, I'm just going to go on the theme of who I said would maybe win the World Cup and the Champions League. So I'll either go Mbappe or I'll go mate. Now, not Dembele. He's been injured too much already this year. I'll go Mbappe. He's probably the safe thing to go, but
Yeah.
I don't really like him. I don't want him to win it. But if Real Madrid have a good season and France have a World Cup, which both are very likely, he'll play a big part.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Harry Kane or Haaland. Both just score goals for fun, and again, probably got live chances in. Well, Haaland's got live chances in the Champions League and the league, and Kane's probably got a live chance in the Champions League, the league, and potentially with England if he has a good tournament. But that's going to rely.
Whoever wins the World Cup who will have the biggest say on who will win the Ballon.
Yeah, agreed. Right. Let's leave football there then, and let's move on to the darts. The World Championship has wrapped up, and Luke the Newt has destroyed everybody in his path again. It's starting to get a little bit boring now. but you can't fault the bloke's ability. He's
Do you know what we should have done?
unbelievable.
We should have gone on our predictions because we made some predictions, didn't we?
I can probably get them up from somewhere, to be fair.
I think I did predict Littler to win, to be fair. Did you predict Littler?
I think I said Humphreys, didn't I?
I had Josh Rock and I had Callum Ridds as my outsiders.
No, fucking hell, my pick went well, didn't it? I had fucking Gezi was out in round 2.
Oh, you had Price to win?
Yeah, because I had the winner coming from that side, and I thought that Gezi might, if Gezi got there, Gezi might do
Who
Littler.
did he lose to again? Was it Clemens?
No, it
Can't remember.
was it Hood? No, it weren't Hood.
I can't remember.
Let's have a look. Gezi. Price. He lost to Wesley Plazier, didn't he?
But yeah.
So yeah, ones to watch. To be fair, we both had a pretty good run with that. You had Rock, who got to semi-final, was it? Quarter-final?
I don't.
Quarter-final, I think he lost, didn't he?
He definitely didn't get to the semis.
And I had obviously Van Veen as my one to watch, who lost the final. Ones to watch, number 2's Noppert and Smith. Well, Noppert got knocked out by Justin Hood's unbelievable fairy tale story, and Michael Smith might as well have been me playing on stage. And then long shots, we had Connor Scott and Callum Ridds. I mean, Callum Ridds had a half-decent tourney. He was looking pretty good till unfortunately lost his granddad, and then sort of
Lost
just
to Jack Trot, didn't he?
Yeah, he just sort of didn't need to be on that stage. It sort of derailed his tournament, and Connor Scott lost to Gary Anderson in a game he probably should have won. So
Yeah, it was good to see Anderson have a bit of a good tournament, to be fair.
Yeah, it's nice. To be fair, Anderson's one of those players that you just love to see.
He does turn up for the
well.
World Championships, doesn't he? He's kind of the opposite of James Wade. James Wade turns up for every tournament bar the Worlds.
Bar the Worlds, yeah. But yeah, mate, congratulations on predicting the winner, Luke Littler.
Oh, I mean, it weren't
Rocket
a hard
science,
pick,
was it? No, I just went against the grain for the sake of going against the grain. But yeah,
well,
no.
we said we both agreed, didn't we? If he weren't going to win, he would have had to have made a slip up in one of the earlier rounds. And as the rounds began and the tournament lengthened, it
just
was
got better and better.
I think there was moments in games though, and I'm thinking of the final already where Van Veen had a dart to go 2-0 up in sets, and then you don't know maybe how the outcome changed. Because then when it goes to 1-1 and then he breaks throw, and then it's like when he's 2-1 up, he just runs away with it.
This is my issue with
relentless.
people that play him, and this is so what. In our group chat, I said as soon as Van Veen beat Anderson in that unbelievable game, I said, give Luke Littler the trophy now, because it's almost like one of those things that as soon as, with certain players, as soon as they get an advantage, as soon as Littler gets an advantage over them, the game's gone. And that was the case with Van Veen. Van Veen's one of those players that once he gets a couple of majors under his belt, he'll take off. But you always knew if he went behind, he hasn't got the mental to come back against Littler, whereas Gary Anderson has that I don't give a fuck attitude anymore. And I think probably would have given Littler, whilst it would have been harder for Anderson to win the game in terms of putting the numbers up, he also wouldn't be as phased in those key moments that cost Van Veen the game effectively.
Yeah, Van Veen's head went down, didn't it? And then it was like he couldn't just get anything going.
Yeah.
That was what back in the day Taylor was unbelievable at doing. Just like it's a bit cliche really talking about like slowing a game down, but Taylor and Barneveld was good at it as well. Just like slowing a game down and just like playing at their pace. Like people are trying to play at Littler's pace and go at his scoring pace, and
the games are done before they've even started. They are. You can predict a game, like realistically, you know that who's going to give Littler a game to a point where it's not the scoring becomes the thing that wins Littler the game. So like James Wade has that sort of attitude of he's not phased of playing Luke Littler. It's not a big thing to play against Luke Littler. Humphries, I think, it's actually because he's been beat so many times by him. He's now in that bracket of I just don't fancy him against Littler. Whereas when they were still 1 and 2 and it was bouncing, I'd fancy him. But then you've got Anderson and maybe like Gerwin Price that Gezzy's always had a bit of a thing over Littler up until very recently that he still believes he can go into that game and win. But if you look at
Yeah,
anybody else, it's almost as if they've lost before they play him.
yeah, I know what you're saying.
So
And like just any kind of moments in games where you felt right, this is the bit where pressure needs to be applied, or this double needs to be taken out, or whatever. It would just never happen. And I kind of go back to the Van Veen, the dart to go 2-0 up in sets. As soon as that didn't go in, you thought, nah, that's game.
yeah, it's game. Well, you put it in the chat, didn't you? You just put well done, Luke Littler, as soon as it was done. That brings us on to the Premier League then. We could get pretty heated on this, to be fair, because I think this lineup is a little bit of a joke, if I'm perfectly honest. So the Premier League was announced that it was still going to be 8 people in the same format would stay from last year, which is obviously like a straight knockout tournament till one person wins the night. The obviously the people that have been picked for it this year, the world top 4 get in automatically, which was Littler, Humphries, Van Veen, and Michael van Gerwen, which I don't think anyone's got any complaints about, to be fair.
No,
Actually, I think that's wrong. I think Clayton gets in as number 4. I think Clayton overtook MVG.
right, okay.
So MVG then goes in as a 5th, which I like MVG, but I'm not convinced by his recent performances. But that's a bit recency biased. I don't think you can purely go on that. Last year's Premier League, he picked up nightly wins and looked half decent. Obviously, like I say, Clayton gets in at number 4, so he has to be in. And then you've got Gerwin Price, who is box office, and then obviously Bunting has got in, which is the one that a lot of people are online and not
Josh Rock.
think. And obviously Josh Rock. Yeah, sorry, I missed Josh Rock.
Who so who were the same names as opposed to last year, and who were the different names this year? So
So
Luke are the same, Van Gerwen's the same, Price is the same, Bunting's the same.
the other 3 are changed. Clayton wasn't in it last year. It was
Nathan Aspinall was in last year.
yeah, Ubi was in last year, and who else was in?
Was it Michael Smith?
No, it wasn't Michael Smith. 2025 PDC.
So the changes have been Van Veen, Clayton. Did you say Clayton was in last year?
Yeah. No, Clayton wasn't in last year.
Oh, okay.
Last year it was. Is it showing me this year's when I want last year's? Rob Cross. Rob Cross was the other one.
Oh yeah, Rob Cross.
So
it's Cross. So it's Cross out. It's Aspinall out, and it's
Dobie out.
or
Van
Van
Veen,
Veen,
Rock,
which is fair
and
enough.
Clayton.
Clayton, fair enough. Yeah,
Like I don't hate.
I don't mind.
I don't hate the
Josh
lineup.
Rock being in. I don't mind Josh Rock being in, but then again, if he weren't have been in, I wouldn't have been like, oh, Josh Rock had to have been in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I don't hate the lineup, right? But I
You
do.
know, I found that Bunting's in there, yeah. Bunting's rattled, yeah.
But it's rattled me because what he's got in because he's got a good like Adam put it in our group chat and I've seen it online. He might as well give his whatever he earns from that to David Guetta and Sia because that's the only reason he's in because he's got a good walk on. Like I love Bunting, I fucking love him. But he's been so bad last year, so bad.
He's like Price in some respect. He's in for for his box office and his
Yeah,
entertainment, as
but
opposed to like his actual ability. That's a bit harsh on Price, to be fair,
yeah,
because
because Gezi will win nights, and
yeah,
he'll.
Price did well last year, to be fair. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But
But like, if
but sorry to on your
no, go
point,
on.
like on the Gezi and Bunting thing, right? If Gezi's losing, right, a game, and he brings it back a little bit, he'll be giving it the boyas, and he'll be giving it the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
the hand to the ear and all that jazz, and he'll be giving it some large, so the crowd are up and they're getting thing. If Bunting loses a game, he goes out on a whimper. It it
Yeah,
it
but that's part of the reason why Price gets in, right? He's just great entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, I do get that, and like I say, I do think, to be fair, it's
But that's why Bunting's got in as well, right? Because he's a bit of a crowd favourite.
but
He's a crowd favourite. He's got a good walk on song, and he entertains the crowd.
but
Because other than that, I'm struggling.
the Batman quote comes up, doesn't it? Then that you live long enough as the hero to become the villain, or whatever the actual.
He fucking butchered that.
No, I know.
You either die
That's
a
the one.
hero or live long enough to see
To be,
yourself become the villain.
yeah, that's the one.
Well, I think where Bunting's killed himself a bit is he's been a bit of a dickhead recently and gone on about I'm the people's champion, I know my worth, and I've done all this and all this bollocks, and it's like,
Yeah, but that's fed from what
but
the
then
PDC
yeah,
want him to
but
be.
then but if you're telling people you're the people's champion, you're not the people's champion because that's like being a
To,
part of the people's champion,
to
innit?
be to be fair, I reckon the PDC will be pretty gutted that Clayton went for a long run in the um in the Worlds, because I
Well,
think,
who? Yeah, I get what you're saying, but who would they have liked to have picked in as opposed to have
well,
Clayton?
this is the thing, maybe not a case of like, it's such a weird one, because for me, and I've said it in our group chat, like, Danny Noppert should be in there, but again, he doesn't bring anything to it. He's not
Yeah.
going to cause a stir. He's not going to be like loud and thing. He probably would win nights, but can you guarantee he's going to play well every week? Probably not.
I don't think he would win nights. It's a
I
bit like Dedeka last year, right? There was a big thing where the Dedeka would get him because he won a major and he did well in a couple of others. Like, and he didn't get in, and he was another one who fucking toys went out the pram, dummies on floor, his head had exploded, saying kicking off. But it's like I couldn't have seen Dedeka really competing in the Premier League. There's no way he'd get to finals night. If Danny Noppert was in, you couldn't be telling me he gets to finals night. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I
Like,
guess.
like I could see Price in finals night. I could even see Bunting in finals night more than I could like Noppert or a Rob Cross.
And I've
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I do think it's I would have liked to have seen James Wade in it.
Yeah, I was just thinking the thing is with like your Wade. Do you know what probably holds Wade down a little bit is he's just so consistent in and around his 92, 95, 97 average, is he? He never really seems
Yeah, you don't
anymore
really get an
to throw them
105,
105
110s.
But
Yeah.
that's where Bunting's entertaining, right? Because he has got that in him, but he's also got a fucking set 80 in him.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
but then for what James Wade lacks in that, like, extra bit of in his darting ability, is he's got this, and he'll cause a stir going into a week, or he'll have something said on stage to someone like Gerwin Price, or when they play each other, and you'll get a little bit of argy-bargy and a little bit of nastiness and a little bit of crowd pleasing. And I do kind of agree with what Wade said in the past. Like, his face doesn't fit the mold. The PDC have made it very clear in the past that I think it was 2014 that they didn't put him in because of medical issues, when realistically it was just he was having his bipolar. Um,
Yeah, he has. Not like it's his fault, but he has let himself down in the past as well, Wade, with things he's said, and he over the past couple of years he has fought form and he's had personal issues. I get that as well, not just with his bipolar, but he's had it. Did he have a divorce? I know he split up from obviously Helen Chamberlain, then he got with somebody else. So yeah, that's not his fault that he's had personal issues, but I can understand why the PDC haven't necessarily like put him into these events and that.
yeah, it's a shame though, because And it's a shame, to be fair, that Anderson is as old as he is, because I think he'd have been box office for
Mate,
it as well. I think
when I
Anderson would
first
have been nailed on. You know, if he'd have actually, if the PDC thought he was going to accept it, Anderson would have been
yeah,
nailed on.
when I first got into darts, it was only really James Wade who was actually capable of going head to toe with Taylor for like 2 or 3 years. I know Barney beat him in that world final, but in the other events, if James Wade didn't beat him, nobody else would beat him. So I was a big rooter for James Wade back in the day. So I really want to see him do well. But like, and the World Championship always goes a big saying to if you get in the Premier League, and he has always failed to turn up in the Worlds. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not even got into the final before. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong, that is a hard achievement to get into the World Championship final. But like when he's won everything else, like he's won the Premier League and the Grand Prix and the UK Open and the match play, like he should be getting to a world final or should have at some point.
yeah, yeah. I agree, mate. Yeah. Right. Should we wrap it up there? Do a little bit of a quiet one and ease back into it this week.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Couple of hot topics there that we obviously needed to discuss. We didn't quite get on to Maresca, did we? I just want to talk on just very briefly. I thought he was quite harshly sacked in some ways. We've kind of said Chelsea are a bit of a fucking comedy sketch at the minute with that ownership and stuff, but when it was spoken about Liam Rosenick coming in, I honestly, hand on heart, swear down on my life, thought he was coming in as the interim manager. I
Yeah.
could not believe he's been given a 6-year contract at Chelsea.
It's
Oh my God. And you talked about earlier, like people like who's big enough to like go into Man United and with this respect and with this brand of football and he was Wayne Rooney's assistant manager at Derby.
yeah, it's fucking mad, to be fair. I will say, and I don't watch French football, but I've seen a few clips online. Like, I know it can be what the context is and stuff, but he does come across quite well in his like team talks and the way
Oh,
he talks to players
I'm
and
sure
stuff.
he
But
does.
like you say, you're walking into the biggest job in the one of the biggest jobs in world football with no um
Mate, the Chelsea job is arguably, other than the Real Madrid job, is probably the most scrutinised job in the sense of that they chop and change managers like they chop and change hot dinners, mate. They do not give a fuck about bombing a manager off. They don't care. They've done it to Ancelotti, Gus Hiddink, Mourinho twice. Di Matteo won the Champions League. Bye bye, off you pop. You're not good enough. Fuck off.
yeah, it is. They are a
And they
comedy
brought
football
in
team.
Liam Rosner, mate. He was Wayne Rooney's assistant manager. He then went to Hull. Not sure how he did at Hull, to be fair. I don't really follow Hull. Then, like you say, then he's gone to the French league. I could have understood if he'd have got maybe, with the greatest respect, a lower league Premier League job, maybe gets the Fulham job, maybe gets a high-end championship job. Do you know what I mean? And then gets the Chelsea job. And like I say, I generally thought he got the interim manager. I thought he was the interim
I
manager. When
I
I
must
saw report,
I must admit, when it first came about, I thought he was getting it till like the end of the year, and then he'd be
yeah,
back off to Strasbourg, the sister team. And then when
or
it
somebody
came,
else.
yeah, and then when it came out 6.5 years, I was like, "Fuck off!" Like, what the fuck?
If anybody can hand, and I was saying this about Amarim when was like a yammering, and I was like, if you can, nobody can see Amarim down the line as 2 years in 2 years as Man United manager. If anyone can put their hand on their heart and say Liam Rosner will be the Chelsea manager in 6.5 years, I want a fucking piece of what they're smoking because that is not happening in the slightest. In fact. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone in next. If he's gone, he will last. He will last the season because fucking hell, you can't sack him then. But he will be gone next season, 100%.
Yeah. If he's in a job in October, I'll be very surprised.
Well, it's not like Tuchel or like an Emery or someone where you can. They've built some credibility or some time. Fucking Liam, it'll be the easiest sack in the world. I'm sorry. I
Well,
can't.
that's
I couldn't
probably,
believe.
to be fair, that's probably why he's took the job, because he knows he's going to get a fucking huge contract, and at the end,
Oh, it's a free hit for him. It's a free hit
yeah, he
because
can go
he's
in,
not
and if it
expected to do
works,
well.
yeah, if he goes in and
He's
it
not
works,
expected to
he's
do well.
fucking built his profile. If not, he's getting a fucking payout, and he's back on beach.
If he has a good 2 years, which fucking hell, if he does, I'll be astounded. And if he does, mate, fair play to him. But if he has a good 2 years, he'll get himself another Premier League job. And if he's bombed off after a year, like you say, nice payout, and he'll probably still land another manager's job because he's been Chelsea manager. Oh, crazy, mate. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
football's just fucking bonkers now, isn't it? It's the way it's gone all around. Managerial, the way it's played. I just want to touch before we go as well, by the way, and now I've mentioned it, the way it's played. I fucking hate watching football. It's fucking shit. I watched that. So Sunday you had a big derby. You had Leeds. Well, I say derby, but you had a big rivalry. You got Leeds United at Leeds. A crowd hyped up. Like, I'm thinking, even though that a lot of foreign players, like, there's going to be some hype behind this. The atmosphere is going to be ridiculous. Players are going to be amped. They're going to sort of know what the history is between them. There's going to be a few challenges flying about. It's going to be a fast pace. Two pretty poor teams which could make a really good game. My fucking God. I was bored shitless all the way through. It was poor to watch. The quality was poor. The style of football was fucking poor. And there wasn't a single fucking big challenge inside 20 minutes to set the fucking tone. In fact, watching it from a betting perspective, because I'd had a bet on it, I think there was one foul in 17 minutes. It's a fucking joke.
You know what, as well? The players are like robots now, and everybody's trying to play the same way, which dilutes the game and makes it boring as well. I mean, to be fair, I don't like watching Arsenal, but at least Arteta's gone against the curve and playing to like strong advantages of getting fucking set pieces, and it gets them results. But like everybody's just trying to play the same way now. I mean, Wolves are fucking horrendous, and they're trying to like play like a really nice, expansive football. But there seems to be like no individual quality at the minute.
No,
Like you
agreed.
could go back watching Premier League football. Like you're gonna get nostalgia emergent on back in our day or whatever bollocks. But like, do you know like just a player out of a moment would just
Just,
do a bit,
just to pick Hazard, pick the ball up inside his own fucking
mate,
box,
mate.
take four
I won't
Liverpool
even,
players on, bang it in top fucking
mate.
bins.
Mate, I wasn't even thinking Hazard. I was going to say fucking Matty Taylor from Portsmouth, mate.
Yeah,
Scoring with his left foot from fucking miles out.
yeah. Or
Do you know
fucking,
what I mean?
but
I'm not saying you need to be like Eden
you don't get
Hazard.
a moment in a game anymore, do you? Like even silly little things. Again, City with the fucking the Johnson fucking elbow on fucking.
Do you know why they don't get a moment though? Because they don't take a player on or don't have a shot because the fucking
Well,
manager's going,
but
hey, you didn't play a
this
fucking
is the point,
5 yard
right?
sidewide pass.
So
This is our style of play.
we watched.
Fuck off.
So I turned that game off because I was bored shitless. So then in the evening, you've got two of the biggest teams in the country. You've got Chelsea and City playing each other, right? And I'm thinking, surely Chelsea must look at this City squad and think, yeah, we can probably get a little bit of something from here. And City are probably looking at thinking, this could be a bit tasty. This could be a bit nice. Chelsea got a few players that like to throw challenges in, and it gets a bit tasty. Yeah. There'll be a bit of room. Like I don't think Caicedo played, but like Enzo might lose his head, or someone might fly out in position. Fucking hell! Chelsea sat 11 men behind the ball, and City passed it side to side because they couldn't break them down. Mate, got to fucking what time did that kick off? 5:30. Got to 6 o'clock. I put the NFL on. Turned it off, put the NFL on.
Mate, nobody does a bit now because they're scared of what the manager would say and all that. And nobody dares fucking puts a challenge in because of some of the stupid red cards I've seen in the Premier League this year.
The red cards, the fucking refereeing, the VAR decisions don't even get fucking started on that because I'm a Liverpool fan and how the fuck was that Wirtz goal given was a fucking disgrace. It's a fucking joke, mate. I hate.
That just reminds me, Fulham, the 2-1 down.
Yeah, last
Harrison
minute, bloke
Reed has
comes
a
off the
pop.
bench, picks it up, walks off thing, bang. First time in fucking months that someone's had a moment.
Somebody's had a shot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just, it's fucking so robotic. It fucking boils my piss. I could lose my rag at it all the time. Honestly, I've watched so much football during this winter break, and obviously because I've been ill and laid in bed, I thought, you know what, I'll watch the games when they're on. Fuck me. I'm lost for words to what to say to it now because I just don't
And you
enjoy it.
just I know we're going to wrap it up, but just quickly, because we've talked about the World Cup. Can you remember the last World Cup in Qatar? That was unbelievable entertainment.
Yes, mate.
That World Cup was brilliant. And they had the long stoppages, and I know it's a World Cup and it means just so much more, but it's like,
You get the moments, you get the players pick a ball up
yeah,
for a lesser nation and do something
that's it,
magical
yeah.
against a big team. It's like it's completely shit, I know, but like it's like AFCON now. I see some of the clips online from AFCON and I fucking love it because you've got. Did you see? I can't remember who it was the other day. There was a game. All 3 goalkeepers got used because
Yeah.
the first
AFCON
one
is
got
carnage though, isn't it?
the first one got injured, the second one got sent off, the third one had to come off the fucking bench to thing it. It's mint because like there's these things, you got players like trying to clear the ball and putting it in their own net, or some random fucking guy you've never even heard of pick ball up on the halfway line and put it in the top bins, or some guy scored an unbelievable overhead kick in like the group stage. And it's all over
Yeah.
social media. It doesn't happen in the Premier League. Like you say, that Harrison Reed, I think, is it Harrison Reed?
I think it was, yeah, I can't remember. But
It's
the
the
guy
fucking
scored the bag of Fulham,
yeah.
yeah.
It's the first time this season I've actually gone, oh fucking hell, what a goal that is! Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Do
mean?
you know what? As we've been recording this, I've been watching the Forest West Ham game on in the background, and
Oh,
it's
I bet
just
that's
been,
dead.
yeah. I mean, it's nearly half time, but the ground's half empty. The goal was an own goal. It's 2 poor teams, like really bad.
So there's been a combined of 6 shots this game, 2 on target for both. 1 on target for each team, 2 off target for each team. Equal possession. There's been 4 corners. It's fucking wank, mate. It's fucking shit. Honestly, it's fucking shit. The only football worth watching now is either Champions League or not international, but international tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, they provide obviously good dramas and stuff, and the Champions League doesn't get interested until the later rounds. So.
No. I'm sure fucking Paul will be telling me in the group chat after watching this that Sunderland are the greatest team in all time and they've been playing fucking unbelievable brand of football and Jacques is the new Messi and all that. But
To be fair, though, Sunderland have been a bit of a fresh air in that in some respect.
To be fair, you get it every now and then from certain teams. Like Bournemouth might do it every now and then. Brighton might do it every now and then. Sunderland, like you say, have probably been the exception this year. But the big teams, mate, it's just robotic. It's just shit. It's just robotic. And until you get like a... And to be fair, it's even in the Champions League, you may only get PSG or Barcelona that might do that because Real Madrid look fucking shite. And then you've got the Italian clubs that just sit back and try and hit you on the counter. And all right, Bayern Munich and Barca may play, PSG might play some nice football. But then even the Premier League teams in the Champions League, you're like, if Arsenal are England's best chance at winning the Champions League, an English club's best chance at winning the Champions League this year, then fucking God help us.
I think they might win it.
Well, we'll see, pal. Let's wrap it up on that then, mate. It's been good to be back. Weekly episodes or comments again starting this week. So, yeah, thanks for joining me, mate, and I'll catch you next week.
Cheers, Devon. Thank you.